What's good, guys? Welcome back to Behind the Dugouts, and I hope you are keeping well. And it is just news galore at the moment, isn't it? You can't be off the socials for more than a few seconds without getting a here we go here or a players agreeing personal terms there. And at the moment, every player just seems they're not happy at their current club and wants to make a move. Especially at Chelsea, we are always linked to every single player under the sun. The spreadsheet that they must have at Cobham at the moment must be about a mile long. And it spans over every transfer window. It's always the same, whether it's the summer or the January transfer window. We're just linked to everybody. But there are some occasions where there are a few links or players that come up that you get really excited about. Ones that you hope these links are true and that you hope materialize into something. And there is one that's popped up again, and we've mentioned a few times on the channel regarding this player. And rumours again have sparked up since the absolute spanking PSG gave Real Madrid last night. A particular winger did not even make it on the pitch at all to feature, and that's Rodrygo. And again, the rumours have sparked up that he is not happy and, he is thinking about making a move. So this is what Fabrizio had to say on the situation. Direct meeting for Rodrygo's future will take place next week as Real Madrid are open to letting him leave. Real will leave the final decision down to the Brazilian. Rodrygo won't join Al Nassr, never a topic or even a negotiation, despite reports. Full focus on Europe. Now, I don't know about you, but this is the type of superstar player that I want my club to be linked with and I want us to be going for. He is a very versatile player. He can play off the right wing, the left wing, in cam, and if you really need to, he can play up front. So he is a player that can play in these multiple positions, and we have come to know that this is what the club and Maresca are looking for in the players that they sign, is the versatility. Can they provide options across the pitch, which he definitely can. Is he young? Yes, so he fits within that age bracket, and he is a born winner. He has won everything there's possibly to win at Madrid. The Ligas, Champions League, domestic cups, Club World Cups, Super Cups, you name it, he's won it all, and he's so young, but he's going to bring that experience in the team that we've all been crying out for these young players, the likes of Esteval coming in, Jamie Gittens. These players will feed off the experience and the energy that he would bring into this camp. I'm guaranteed now, if Rodrygo is signed by Chelsea, you will see the attack elevate dramatically. And it's not to mention the Brazilian, the Brazilian outfit that we seem to be putting together at the moment. We've got Esteval, João Pedro now. If we bring in another Brazilian, the chemistry that's going to build between those three alone and the bond that they will share, and when they are playing in the attack together, which there will be occasions where all three of them will potentially be playing together, they're just going to click together, and there's going to be so much fluid movement, fluid play. It is, to me, this would be a brilliant signing. And if we was to sign Rodrygo, I think that's it for the front line. I don't think we need anything else probably for quite a while, in terms of we haven't got any players in that forward line that are, getting on, that are old, that we might need to shift on and replace soon. We have got one of the youngest, and we were the youngest Premier League side to compete last season ever. So, they've all got time on their side. They've got time to develop and grow. So if you just throw that added experience into that front line with Rodrygo, I think you'll see a completely different forward line next season, 100%. Now, obviously, there's a talking point of his wages. There were reports that he was earning around 250k a week, but there's also been some reports saying that he's actually earning 200k in gross, which means he's actually earning less. That's what he's making before deductions. So he could potentially be in that bracket, and there has been some rumours. Again, we don't know if this is true or not until it comes from the player's camp or from himself. You're never going to know 100%, but it's been mentioned that he would be willing to sacrifice part of his salary or to take a drop in order to stay in Europe, because as Fabrizio mentioned, he doesn't want to go to Saudi. He doesn't want to take the bag and waste the prime, because he will be coming into his prime soon, the prime years of his career playing in the Saudi Pro League. It's not where the competition is. So I think if we can offer him Premier League football, Champions League football, and to make matters even better, if we can go and win the Club World Cup this weekend, I think he'll be knocking on our door rather than we're knocking on his. But if we can offer him all this, I think he will take a reduction and will fit within our wage bracket. And if we can, whack Sterling's off and get his wages off, that'll pretty much cover it anyway. So there is a lot of opportunity. This is one of those market opportunities. We had the club coming out that Mike Maignan was a market opportunity, which at that point they didn't take, clearly. But this would be another market opportunity for them. If he wants to leave and has, once he's had his discussion with Madrid and he decides that that's it, it's time for me to move, this is a big market opportunity. And I really hope the club do pursue this. This is the type of player that would elevate the team dramatically. So, it's still early doors. Again, they'll have a meeting. I don't expect to hear much else on it at least until next week, until they've had this meeting. So it will probably be a bit quiet, but there will be other clubs involved. Arsenal will link to him at some point, but we'll talk about them in a minute because they seem to be snapping up somewhere else. There has been a little mention of Liverpool. Now, again, I don't want to get in a bidding war because this could get astronomical. Transfer fee is going to be relatively high. It's not going to be ridiculous, but it's going to be relatively high. But if we start entering a bidding war with another club, it's just going to rise and rise and rise. And then that could be, an indication that the club will pull out because they're not willing to, go that high on a transfer fee. But there is the caveat with Liverpool that they have spent, 100 almost 150 million on Wirtz, and they haven't really sold anybody yet. So I don't know where they're going to be getting the funds for. That's one of the reasons why the Isak, rumours died down, because there's just no way they can afford to pay all that money without selling any players yet. So until they start selling people, I'm not really worried about Liverpool. But, we'll have to wait and see. But this is a rumour that I, 100% endorse, 100%. If the club is, if they're actually pursuing this, go get him, bring him in, make him a blue, and he will be brilliant for us. I have no doubts on that whatsoever. Moving into, we've had some more news on the Madueke situation, and don't worry, it's not bad news. I know it's sort of gone quiet since the personal terms have agreed, but it's some good news. So apparently Andre Berta, Arsenal's sporting director, has made some comments regarding the recent bid for Noni, as well as his valuation, apparently, of the player. So this is what he's had to say. Times reports that Andre Berta believes Arsenal are not overpaying for Noni by launching a 50 million bid. They've added that he is convinced the Chelsea star is worth £65 million in the current market. Yes, Andre Berta, most certainly is Noni worth £65 million. I swear, if we can pull off taking 65 million from Arsenal for Noni, we are going to be celebrating. I'll be popping that champagne. The Arsenal fans will be in complete and utter meltdown. They're in meltdown the fact that he might cost 50. The fact that we could probably push this to 65 million. If these comments get out, which they clearly have, and if this is exactly how he feels, and that they're not overpaying, and that he values him at 65, this puts Chelsea in a really good position. I think their first bid was 50 million, with add-ons. So it wasn't 50 up front, it was maybe like 40, 45 plus add-ons to take it to the 50. But if Chelsea can push that to 55, 60 and potentially get the add-ons to take it to 65, we have not only, I think we've almost doubled, if not more than doubled, in terms of profit on the sale of him. But we have just sold them, probably at this current time, our third choice right winger, because at the moment Pedro Neto is going to be in front of him. With the way that Esteval played against us in the Club World Cup and what he's potentially going to bring to the side, he's already rated so highly within the club, and in the coaching environment, he is probably going to be ahead of Noni on that right wing. I had a feeling that Noni was probably going to be shifted over to the left to accommodate and play back up to Gittins. So we are basically selling a backup player to Arsenal, making a hell of a lot of profit and sending the Arsenal fan base into a complete meltdown at the same time. I mean, it just doesn't get much better than this. You know, Noni, he's a good player, don't get me wrong. He's got a lot of potential. But do I think he's stagnated a little bit in Chelsea? Yes. Do I think there's lots of things that he should have improved by now, especially in the finishing department? Yes. Has he done it? No. But if we can take 65 million out of Arsenal and put that money to Rodrygo, who we've just mentioned, I'll take that as, that's an upgrade by bar none, isn't it? You would 100% take Rodrygo in a heartbeat over Noni Madueke. It's not even a debate on that one. So this does make a lot of sense for the club. It makes a lot of sense for Noni. It's clear that his head is not with the club anymore. Reports coming out saying that he is excited for the Arsenal move. He wants to make the move. So it just makes a lot of sense. And if we can pull out £65 million from Arsenal for this deal, happy days. I think that is brilliant business and we will be laughing. But I do find the valuation a little bit strange, and I'm going to get into why. And it leads me into my next topic, the player that I want to discuss in another link that Arsenal have at the moment in Victor Gyökeres. And we know they've been pursuing him over the last few weeks. They've agreed personal terms. Now it's just between Sporting and Arsenal to agree on the transfer fee. And there is a slight gap. And it's causing up a bit of a stir. So this is what's going on at the moment. Arsenal is about to give up on signing Victor Gyokeres from Sporting. Business between the clubs is getting more distance. Gyökeres stands firm in his intentions not to show up for pre-season for Sporting tomorrow. Are they about to fumble this deal? And from what I understand, it is over €5 million. And the funny thing is, right, I've seen, again, it's reported that they value Gyökeres at £55 million. No more, but £55 million. They value him £10 million less than Noni Madueke. Are you having a laugh? Now, you have the whole debate that, he's not going to be able to do it in the Premier League. He didn't really do it in the Championship. Blah, blah, blah. All this rubbish. You're telling me a 60-plus goal striker is not going to bag you 10, 15, 20 goals a season? And you value him for a winger that was producing even less than that, and you value him 10 million more. It doesn't make any sense. They are going to fumble this deal over €5 million, apparently. Imagine Arsenal sign Noni Madueke for £65 million, and then they go and walk away from the Victor Gyokeres deal over €5 million and don't want to pay any more than £55 million. The Arsenal fan base, they'll be turning up to the freaking ground with, pitchforks. They'll be having a complete meltdown. You think it's bad now? If that happens, if they walk away from the Gyokeres deal and sign Noni for £65 million, they will be losing it. And I'm all for it. I would love to see. I don't want Arsenal to have Gyökeres. I think he's going to take them to the next level. I think he's going to bag goals in the Premier League and he's going to make them title contenders 100%, because that's all they've missed is a goal scorer. But if they fumble this deal, oh my God, I'm going to crack out the champagne if we get Rodrygo. I will crack out the champagne if Arsenal don't sign Gyökeres, because that is going to be a fumble, of the ages. It will be talked about for a long time. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. I think they're going to come up with the money. I think, at the end of the day, Sporting now have a player that is refusing to play, is not going to turn up. You can't have an asset just sat doing nothing and you're paying him for nothing, so they're going to have to move him. It's just going to be who's going to budge first, They could have someone come in last minute and try and swoop him out of Arsenal's hands. Don't think that's going to happen. I think if there was any other club involved, they would have been in now, and there would probably be, he would have probably already made his move by now. So, again, we'll keep an eye on it. It's probably one of these situations where it's a little bit of a smokescreen by Arsenal, to put a bit of fear in Sporting that they could potentially walk away from this deal. They'll get no money and they'll have an asset on the bench that they're paying, wages for, that they won't play, that he won't play for them. So it doesn't make much sense from them. So I think this is all it is. It's just a scare tactic to make Sporting drop their asking price. But we'll see. They have been tough negotiators up until now. See if they hold out and do get that extra 5 million from Arsenal. We will wait and see. And then I just wanted to finish lastly on the goalkeeping situations, because we've had some news regarding Jordi Petrovic. I know, a goalkeeper that none of us want to see go, but we've known that since the start of the summer transfer window that he is destined to go. I think his biggest mistake was making his demands, and once that was done, I think that was it really. He was, destined to go, and we were always going to try and flip him for a profit, and it looks like that is what's about to happen. So this is the latest on Jordi Petrovic. Bournemouth are close to an agreement with Jordi Petrovic, who is keen on the move. Sunderland talks never advanced. Aaron Ramsdale and Sam Johnson, two names they are considering now. So yeah, it looks like Bournemouth are going to close in on this deal, and they are going to sign Petrovic. Now, obviously trading him one Chelsea goalkeeper for another. They've recently sent us back Kepa from his loan, and we've, taken him and sold him off into one of the clubs in our multi-club model in Arsenal. So, it's a good signing for them. It's a good move for Petrovic. He gets to stay in the Premier League and test himself in the best, league in the world. And for Bournemouth, they are getting a top quality keeper. So this makes a lot of sense for both parties. I am, disappointed that we didn't get to see Petrovic play for us, but, it's now, the club now has got to go sign another goalkeeper. We can't go in with just Sanchez and Jorgensen. There's rumours that Mike Penders is going off to Strasbourg on loan next season. So we're going to be down to, the two goalkeepers we had last season, and we've got no Bettinelli now, so we've got no third choice. So we would need to either, probably bring up a goalkeeper from the academy, but I'd like us to go get a number one starting keeper and stick Sanchez and Jorgensen further down the list. But, we don't know. The club is, at the moment, it's not a position, though they say that they are interested in signing someone for. There's not much traction on it at the moment. The Maignan deal apparently is completely off. I wouldn't be surprised if we try and go back in January, because at that point he could potentially be free, because he's, last 6 months of his contract, which could be what's going to happen. But then we still have to stick it out with Sanchez for the next 6 months, and I do not want to stick it out with Sanchez for the next 6 months. So I'm hoping that they do go and do some business as soon as this Club World Cup finishes. I don't think we're going to see any sort of signings until the end of the Club World Cup. But that's all from me, guys. I'd love to know your thoughts. How do you feel on, the potential signing of Rodrygo? Would you take him? Would you prefer somebody else? What do you feel about the Madueke situation? Are you happy with the price? Do you expect more? Do you think he should have gone for a bit less, or go for a bit less? And let me know your thoughts on the goalkeeping situation. If Petrovic, as and when he does go, do you think we need to sign someone, or would you be happy to, I can't even say, would you be happy with Sanchez, because I know nobody would be, but, who would you try and get in to make that third choice, especially with, Mike Penders now going on loan to Strasbourg? We are going to need another goalkeeper. So, drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you are enjoying this content, guys, please hit that like button. But for now, take care of yourselves, and I will catch you in the next one.